Israel is a desert nation with limited rainfall. It has been battling extreme water scarcity for decades. There, water used to be a luxury, not a guarantee. But today, something extraordinary is happening. Stay with me as we unravel the untold story of Israel's revolutionary water highway. In the mid-20th century, Israel was a nation forged amid conflict and struggle. Established in 1948, it found itself surrounded by geopolitical tensions, hostile neighbors, and an arid landscape that offered very few natural resources. But perhaps the most pressing issue of all was water. Israel, located in one of the driest regions in the world, faced an ongoing chronic shortage of water. Its population was increasing rapidly, agriculture was essential for its survival, and the need for water was growing every year. For decades, Israel had to manage its resources under extreme pressure. Without water, there was no food. Without food, there was no security. And without security, there would be no future. But Israel wasn't the first to face this problem. Water scarcity is a global issue exacerbated by climate change, population growth, and mismanagement. But Israel's battle against this crisis was one of the most urgent, given the country's location and its unique geopolitical situation. By the 1950s, the problem had reached a critical level. Israel's population had exploded due to waves of Jewish immigrants, adding more demand for fresh water every year. Agriculture was under siege. The country's primary freshwater source, the Sea of Galilee, was drying up, and this posed a serious threat to the young nation's survival. That's when Israel decided to take action. In 1953, the government initiated the construction of what would become one of the world's most ambitious water projects, the National Water Carrier (NWC). This was not simply about building pipes or pumps, it was about changing the very fate of a nation. The plan was to create a 130-kilometer-long system of canals, reservoirs, tunnels, and pumping stations, all designed to bring water from the Sea of Galilee in the north to the Negev Desert in the south, a region that saw little rainfall. This water highway would become the lifeblood of Israel. It would turn the deserts green, nourish the country's population, and secure Israel's future. But as daring as it was, the project would come at a heavy price. By the time the National Water Carrier was completed in 1964, Israel had committed more than $1 billion to its construction. But the cost wasn't just financial. The project involved complex engineering feats, with massive reservoirs, tunnels, and pipelines built in a way that no one had ever done before. The water was lifted from the Sea of Galilee over 200 meters above sea level and transported across the country to ensure that every region had access to it. For decades, the National Water Carrier served as Israel's main source of fresh water. By the early 1990s, it was providing about half of Israel's drinking water. And the Sea of Galilee became not just a national treasure, but a strategic resource, shared with neighboring Jordan through peace agreements. But Israel's water crisis didn't end with the completion of the NWC. The next phase of Israel's water revolution would be even more extraordinary. In 2017, Israel faced a problem it had never truly anticipated. The Sea of Galilee was running dangerously low. Years of droughts coupled with rising temperatures had left the water levels at historic lows. Israel had transformed from a nation with no water to one with too much. Yet the very water source that had made it possible was at risk of disappearing. But what happened next was nothing short of revolutionary. In a world first, Israel decided to take the bold step of refilling its precious Sea of Galilee with desalinated water, a solution that had never been attempted before on such a scale. It was a decision that raised eyebrows across the globe. Could desalinated water be the key to solving water shortages in a way that was not only practical, but also sustainable for the long term? Was this a miraculous technological breakthrough or a desperate temporary fix to a much larger problem? The scale of this project was staggering. Israel constructed a 13-kilometer-long underground pipeline that connected desalination plants on the Mediterranean coast directly to the Sea of Galilee. But the bigger question was, would it work? As Israeli engineers wrestled with these challenges, the world watched in awe, wondering whether this was the future of water management or an ambitious gamble with nature itself. But the twist didn't end there. Israel was not just thinking about solving its crisis, It was already considering the broader implications. By stabilizing the Sea of Galilee, Israel could secure water not only for itself, but for its neighbors. This had the potential to reshape not just Israel's future, but the future of water diplomacy in the entire Middle East. The decision to use desalinated water from the Mediterranean was groundbreaking, but it also prompted a flurry of ethical, ecological, and political questions. Was it wise to artificially sustain a freshwater lake with salt water? What would this mean for the long-term health of the Sea of Galilee's ecosystem? And perhaps most importantly, what would this decision mean for the future of global water management? The tension mounted and the clock was ticking. Israel had bet everything on its water highway, but in doing so, it had taken a gamble with nature. When Israel took the monumental step of piping desalinated water into the Sea of Galilee, the world waited to see if it would work. The implications were massive, not just for Israel, but for the entire region, and potentially the world. Israel's decision did not just keep its most critical water source from drying up, it became a symbol of innovation in the face of adversity. In the years since the project's completion, the results have been staggering. The Sea of Galilee's water levels have stabilized, ensuring that Israel's drinking water supply remains secure. The national water carrier now serves as a part of a much larger and more sophisticated water system. The added desalinated water helps maintain a constant and reliable supply no matter how hot or dry the years may become. Israel's innovative water strategy isn't just about survival anymore. It's about thriving. The country now produces 20% more water than it needs. Thanks to the national water carrier and the desalination plants, Israel is now able to provide water to Jordan, one of the driest countries in the world, as part of their peace agreement. But this success comes with a price. Israel's water surplus isn't just about quantity, it's also about quality and sustainability. Desalinated water is far more expensive to produce than fresh water, and the ecological impact of continuously injecting salty water into a freshwater lake remains a subject of debate. Some environmentalists worry about the long-term effects on the lake's delicate ecosystem. Despite these concerns, Israel has managed to mitigate most of the risks. The desalination process itself has improved over the years. As for the ecosystem, Israeli scientists have gone to great lengths to ensure the balance is maintained. But the ripple effects of Israel's water revolution extend beyond the Middle East. Israel's pioneering water management technologies, desalination plants, wastewater recycling, and drip irrigation have been adopted by countries all over the world, including India, China, Australia, and the United States. Israeli companies have helped these nations combat their water crises, bringing the technologies that transformed Israel into a water exporting nation to the global stage. Yet, even with these monumental successes, the future is far from certain. Israel faces an ongoing battle against climate change, which continues to exacerbate the region's water scarcity. Increasingly severe droughts, coupled with the growing geopolitical tensions over shared water resources like the Jordan River, make Israel's water security a delicate issue that could easily tip into crisis again. While Israel has built one of the most sophisticated water management systems in the world, it's clear that it cannot afford to rest on its laurels. And as Israel continues to innovate and refine its technologies, the world watches. Israel's water revolution serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of our most vital resource. The impact of its transformation from water scarcity to water abundance reaches beyond its borders. It has shifted the dynamics of peace in the Middle East, where a shared resource has brought together nations once divided by conflict. Israel's surplus water now flows across the borders into Jordan, a symbol of cooperation in a region long plagued by tension. But as much as Israel's success story is celebrated, it is also a warning. Water scarcity is not just a problem for desert nations, it is a problem for the entire world. Could this revolution in water management hold the key to solving the looming global water crisis? As climate change accelerates, many nations will find themselves facing Israel's initial struggles. Yet Israel's response offers a glimmer of hope. But this glimmer comes with a moral question. How much are we willing to sacrifice to ensure our survival? In Israel's case, its water highway might not just be a physical path. It could be the metaphorical road we all must walk in the coming decades. A road that leads to sustainable water solutions, but one that demands innovation, bold choices, and yes, a little bit of risk. The country's journey to becoming a water powerhouse is one of transformation, triumph, and ongoing struggle. The question now is, what will the rest of the world learn from this tiny desert nation's success? And what will we do with that knowledge before it's too late?